Hello everyone, welcome to the Rage Traders NRL Supercoach pods video for this week, and I've gone digging. I've gone in search for gold, and here are 7 possible pods that you could target right now that could help you get ahead of the competition. Now, in saying that, as always, I don't go under 10%, I go 5% and under, to really be in search of these low ownership players that could really differentiate you between yourself and other teams. Now, before we get into it, please like, subscribe, of course, comment if you have any questions, or just comment what your thoughts are on what you were doing, or even about some of the pods I'm suggesting. That would be greatly appreciated. And let's get into it. So, to start off with, I'm going to get straight into my first possible pod. Sam Stonestreet. Boy, oh boy, I don't know if you saw this one coming, but Sharks playing really well at the moment. Sam Stonestreet at the moment, quite not high price, but a break even of 9, and comes in with a 3% ownership. I'll actually just move this for you so you can see all his stats here, but a 76 round 7 score. The ownership isn't crazy high, which is exactly what we want to see in a pods video. And the only thing you have to sort of just keep tabs on is, does Katoa impact him when he comes back? We don't know. I tried searching up, maybe put in the comments below if you know. I don't know when Katoa is due back. If anyone knows that, that would be great, because I even looked at the casualty ward and he wasn't there. Or is he out for like a really long time? I completely forget the injury that happened with Katoa. It's kind of like mind blanked me. But yeah, I think this guy is a possible pod that we could actually hold for a while. Now, if we do look at the draw for the Sharks, they come against round 8. They're West Tigers away, so it is at Leichhardt Oval. Then we've got Parramatta for Magic round. That is going to be a banger of a game. Into Manly away, who do leak a bit of points. Now, this is where it gets a bit tougher. You obviously got Melbourne, into Sydney away, into the bye, but you could easily look at plugging him in for these next 3 or 4 games. Sharks are still a team that are going to put up points against Melbourne. I mean, Melbourne did just leak 42 or 44 points against Dolphins, so it's not to say that Melbourne aren't going to like not let them score. But yeah, I think Sam Stonestreet has to be mentioned. He was someone who had a bit of a slowish start for memory, nothing crazy, but now you can see here the base is still lowish or around that 30 mark, but you know, 77 points, 76 points, has the capability of going 100 plus, and we could see this here for Sharks. Look, the draw is nice. West Tigers, Para, Manly. This is nice. This is good to see. So he's a possible pod you could go to. Next, I want to talk about Kai Pearce-Paul, KPP, Kai Pearce-Paul. Sorry. This guy's been putting up amazing base, and we all know how the Newcastle Knights have been performing. Kai Pearce-Paul is just really impressed me, to be honest with you. 65 points, 89 points in his last 2. The base is over 50, which is absolutely huge. Coming into New Zealand away, Souths for Magic round, Gold Coast Para. That draw is absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not sure if he gets impacted at all by, you know, Dylan Lucas coming back, Kant still being on the interchange. Does that hurt him in any way? I don't think so. Maybe that's something we have to keep tabs on, but the draw is beautiful. The base is clearly there. His lowest base for the season is 38, which is something you definitely cannot be upset about. And it seems like he's just getting better and plugging in a bit more. The problem is Knights are performing very poorly, which means that you could see some changes come in here. Now, in regards to him himself, we also want to talk about the ownership and the break even. So at the moment, his break even is 21, which is great. Ownership is only at 1%. So maybe keep tabs on him. He is a bit of a heavy price in terms of that. But I suspect this is where we're going to see improvement from the Knights, because it can't get any much worse than what it is. All right, next pod, we have to speak about him. He's back from injury, Matt Burton, and I think he's someone you can definitely looking at potting, especially with the Jaden Campbell news. I personally prefer Munster. 2 reasons, well, 3 reasons. One, because Brisbane Broncos and Bulldogs game this week is looking to be quite of a wet game. Yes, he is scoring good points without getting goal kicks at the moment. We assume that comes back. Also, he does have the possibility of being a reserve or even chosen in Origin. So that is something else. Obviously, we know Munster is going to be in the Origin team, but with the Storm's draw, it's just so much better than what Bulldogs is. But I would also argue against that, saying if you were to get Burton, it's now, because their draw is still not that bad. It's quite nice. So his ownership is at 3%. His break even, however, is at 83. I would be surprised if he clears that this week against the Broncos, especially in a wet game, but he could. You don't know. I'm not going to say he's definitely not going to do it. But yeah, I just think if he is goal kicking and they do put some points on the Broncos, I also think this game might be a close one, but still points will be scored. No Reece Walsh. It just depends on how heavy it's raining. Maybe just 30 minutes, an hour before the game, plug on the TV, see what the weather's looking like. If it's like really pouring down, I wouldn't go there. But if it's not that bad, it's a bit slippery and dewy, maybe go for it. Maybe this is the play. You could also wait 1 week and go to him next week. If we do look at him right now, the base 31 on the game back, which is great. 65 points without goal kicking, 80 minutes, of course. They come into Broncos away, which is tonight. Then they have Gold Coast for Magic Round. Then they have Canberra into Sydney, who do leak points. And then they have Dolphins. This is a really, really nice draw for Bulldogs. And we could look at sort of getting rid of him around this 11-12 part where Origin is selected. Now, if he isn't selected for Origin, you are going to be laughing, because you've just had a beautiful run of all this and then you're getting him into Para and South. That is really, really nice. Now, not only is this going to be Parramatta without Moses, it's going to be South without Latrell Mitchell, like maybe Campbell Graham. So that is huge. So that it is, I would say, out of all the risky pods you could do, Matt Burton is the one I would say go for it. You got it. But he could get a 40 or 50 tonight. You lose a bit of money and maybe it bounces back, and maybe you just take the hit and go for it. So that's Matt Burton. We have to speak about this gentleman. Now, he is on the interchange, but I think he's still in the spot to get more minutes and a starting role very, very soon. He got a starting role last week due to injury. He absolutely has carved up. I think this is getting to the point of him just being sort of like, how do I say this? It's jeopardy. This is ridiculous that he's not starting in a Warriors team, in my opinion. This is jeopardizing his value, and also what he brought to the Warriors last week against the Broncos is insane. 37 in base, 69 minutes, for 72 points. He is an absolute wrecking ball. I know we spoke about at the start of the season, Ali Leatawa being this guy, but I think this is the pick. I'm very, very close to trading him in this week and just saying, you know what, I'm going to go for it. They come up against Newcastle, then they have North Queensland in the Magic Round, St. George, Dolphins, Canberra, so Souths, Sharks. It's a very, very nice draw for the Warriors. And I think he's someone that the only thing holding him back is minutes. And I think he will get those minutes. He's an absolute beast of a player. So I think you can definitely go early on Leka Halasima. If we look at just quickly his ownership, Leka, 374,000 with the break even of 1, and he has a 3% ownership. That is absolutely ridiculous. I just think he's a gun of a player and someone who we could look at maybe going Hubner to, or even if you're going down from Nicholson or you're doing the early trade from Horsburgh, this could be done with ease. I really, really like Hubner to Halasima. I don't know why, but I just absolutely love it. So yeah, he definitely has a warrant for being spoken about. Next, I have Joshua Curran. Now, I think Preston is the pick, but I did want to mention Curran because I have seen a bit of it's just Bulldogs are the best team in the comp at the moment. And with that comes the likelihood for more points. Now, Curran at the moment is sitting at 570,000. We'll bring him up here. But I think he's worth talking about. Break even of 26, a round 7 score of 84 in 2% of teams. Now, obviously, tonight it is likely, again, with the Matt Burton talk on the same team, possibly going to be a very wet game. But I would keep tabs on this guy. I think he has a very nice base. It's not as high as a Dylan Lucas, but still, he's a very solid player. We know what he's capable of. And you're just seeing a slight increase in the points, but also you're seeing what he can do in the amount of minutes he gets. Now, that is the one thing holding him back. If Curran gets a consistent minute increase, I think he's a must plug in. I don't think he's someone you could jump to now, but I think he's someone you just watch and see what happens with the minutes. The base is really good, as I said, and the draw is very nice. So just keep tabs on him. I don't think he's a must go to now. Dylan Edwards. We have to speak about this guy. Even though he's playing in Origin, there is a lot of things happening in fullbacks at the moment. I think he is basically bottomed out here, being a break even of 50. Now, there's all of a chance that he just doesn't have a game and he goes 45, 40. But I just think right now, if you did want to take the gamble, now is when you do it. Dylan Edwards, to me, 779,200. Being only in 2% of teams, this could really take you into a position where you pod yourself and score some major points. Not only that, his score last week was the highest score for the Panthers, above Nathan Cleary. He just seems to be the go-to guy now on the right that receives the ball after Luai departing. I think this is when he also makes his little Origin bid, because Tedesco's still playing good footy, but Edwards came out last week and kind of just said, this is why I'm the Origin fullback. And we could see a run here where they go Manly, then they have, and again, this is Manly at their home, into Broncos Magic Round, who have some injuries, into North Queensland, into a bye, into Newcastle. Now, obviously, the Origin selection, that's going to hurt, I think, the round 12 game. If he doesn't get picked, which I would find super surprising, you've just landed yourself an absolute gold mine, I think. So the base being at 43 last week also is absolutely huge. He showed that in round 1 and it kind of dropped off. But you can see what happens when they perform bad is when his base drops off. But when they have their good games, it's kind of like that's when his base increases, which kind of makes sense because he's attacking more, etc. And I think this is when Penrith are getting into their stride. And I think this is when they need to hit their stride. There is definitely room for you to go Edwards now. And if anyone said that's where I'm going, I would not be I would not go, that is the incorrect move. I'd be like, great risk, go for it. If it pulls off, you can actually find yourself climbing rank really well, I think. Last but not least, you're mostly like, what the F after talking about Dylan Edwards. But I just do have to mention Brent Naden because I just think, look, I'm not saying he's going to be a 60, 70 point center, but this guy could be a sneaky cash grab. The reason being is he's just come back from injury, 338,000. He gets 56 points with 26 base in 80 minutes. Against Sharks, then St. George. Now, I just think he's someone that could make you some cash. His ownership is super low. He's not going to be, you know, a Harodi or a Billy Smith. Okay. I'm not saying that right now you should go, instead of going Billy Smith, go Brent Naden. Okay. What I'm saying to you though, if things get a bit tight and you've already got Billy Smith and you've already got Harodi and you're like, well, Tamale's topped out or Toya's topped out, have this guy on your watch list because I think he does actually warrant being an easy sort of, he could make 50 to 100K. He could make you an easy 50K, move him on, and that's it. So watch list, my boy Brent Naden. I don't go for the Tigers. I'm not being biased in any way. I just think he's someone we do need to mention. Did I just say his ownership is 665 selections, not even at 1%. So just keep that in mind. And that's the pods video. Now, I did want to talk about captaincy and my trades this week. I really, really want to go Hubner to Halasima. And I want to, and I'm likely going Campbell to either Munster or Burden. And 80% of that decision is leaning towards Munster with their draw and obviously coming off a loss, playing at home. I just think it all adds up. And then I'd say I'd be boosting with the extra cash that I make from Hubner to Halasima. And then I'll be going to Mars U. Negative break even. I'm actually like super certain these are my trades. I want to see how Lucas is, and then next week I'll grab him if he performs really, really well. I'll just take the hit on that, to be honest with you. I want to take an early sort of play on Halasima. I think it's he's 374. I don't even know if I'll have enough money to do this, which is unfortunate. I thought he was 274. I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong. But I actually don't think I'll be able to go Marzu here. I would have to do something else, which sucks. So I might have to wait on Halasima. I don't want to wait on Marzu. That's the problem. So I'm minus 29,000. So maybe here, instead of that, I could go Gula, or I could go early on Nicholson. That's my only other play. Hold Hubner and go to someone else next week. But I really, for some, like my instinct, and I always preach to you guys, go with your gut and your instinct, is to go get Halasima as soon as possible, because I think this guy is a bit of a wrecking ball. He's just a beast, and I could get ahead of the competition if he has another blast of a game. So yeah, captains wise, guys, I definitely want to get Marzu in, by the way. That's something I think he is close to a must-have, in my opinion, especially with the Newcastle draw. Captains-wise, just be wary. As I've said, it's going to be wet. Broncos, Bulldogs, I wouldn't go anyone here. Sydney Roosters, St. George, you're looking at either vice-captaining Tedesco, Gutho. I would actually lead to Tedesco here if you have him over the St. George, Gutho, or anyone in St. George. I think Roosters are going to have a big game here. And New Zealand, Newcastle, if you are bringing Dylan Lucas in, or if you do have Ponga, I'm not mad at a vice captain. Out of those, I would say Ponga, because I think New Zealand will leak some points here. I don't expect it to be domination. I expect a bit of a bounce back from Newcastle. Melbourne South is where I'm leading to the most. I'm most probably going to be going Pappenhausen vice captain if Melbourne do put an absolute reckoning on. Now, also, if Melbourne do put a reckoning on, the problem also lies with Hubner being in this team where you can't sort of use him as a loop. So I have to be very, very careful of that as well. So yeah, that's a bit of a situation there where you're like, oh, I got caught out bad. So if I think it's likely that Pap isn't goal kicking. So then I can't really, I'm scared to put him as captain in that scenario. So I want to go Pap. I think Munster's a great pick. Also, Hughes, if you have Hughes, great vice captaincy picks. If you do have the option of doing that in terms of looping. North Queensland versus Gold Coast. I think Drinkwater is very, very nice here. I would definitely consider that. Even him as your captain here is really nice, especially being at Cowboys home. Panthers, Manly, you can definitely go Cleary here as your captain or vice captain, depending on who you have later down the track, or you just want to play Terrell May as a safe captain pick. No one from Manly. I wouldn't go Turbo here. That would be a watch if you still have him or you held him for some reason. Canberra versus Dolphins. Not really anything here I would touch and go immediately on. I don't think we're going to see a massive score from Hudson Young, but if you were planning to go Terrell May or Hines, your captain, you could just go for a VC on, Joe Tapane, I think it is, or Hudson Young, but I think there's better vice captaincy options. And West Tigers versus Sharks. I like Terrell May. You could look at AFB, but he gets a 76 with a line break and try assist, so maybe not. Hines also, I think West Tigers at home could be a bit of a tighter game than what we think. I expect this to be much closer than Sharks dominating. But yeah, they're my captaincy and vice captaincy suggestions. If I had to choose two people that I'd say, okay, this is what your play is. For me, I'm going to be doing Pappenhausen vice captain into Nathan Cleary captain. That is what I'm going with, I would say. I can't really see anything else for me to do. If I did do anything else, it's Pappenhausen, my captain, into like someone from Newcastle. Gutho, vice captain, because I don't have anyone from Roosters. I actually did have Connor Watson as my vice captain into Pap's captain. So just be wary. I think Watson could have a big game as well. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, what you're thinking of doing. If you have any trade questions, put them in. I'll get back to you. And thanks for watching the video, guys. This is your pods video, plus some of the trades I'm looking at and captaincy suggestions. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, good luck, and happy trading.